Hello, America. JOC here with your Ranting Politics headline updates, where we are diving into today's most explosive political stories that you need to know about. Coming up, we've got a special one for you folks, Trump's tariff reckoning. That's right, the gloves are off as the president unveils sweeping new tariffs that sent markets tumbling and has everyone from Wall Street to Main Street talking. We're diving into the de minimis trade loophole closure, the bizarre math behind these tariff calculations, and how all of this is already affecting your mortgage rates. If you're just tuning in for the first time, welcome to America's fastest growing daily news rundown, designed specifically for your commute. Remember, you can catch us on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and at rantingpolitics.com, and follow us on X at rantingrp for breaking updates. Stick around for all this and more in your daily dose of unfiltered news and common sense commentary. This is Ranting Politics Headline Updates. The White House dropped a bombshell yesterday as President Donald Trump signed an executive order shutting down what many call the Amazon tax loophole for foreign sellers. Effective May 2nd, the de minimis trade exemption, which lets shipments worth less than $800 enter the U.S. duty-free, is officially on death row. And folks, this is going to hit those dirt-cheap Chinese shopping apps right in the wallet. This isn't Trump's first rodeo with this loophole. Back in February, he tried to slam this door shut without warning, which basically created chaos at customs. Border officials were overwhelmed, the Postal Service temporarily halted packages from China and Hong Kong, and within days, the administration had to pump the brakes and delay the whole thing. But this time, they're giving everyone a heads up. Starting May 2nd, those under $800 shipments that used to sail through customs tax-free will face either a 30% duty or a flat $20 per item, whichever hurts more. And just to twist the knife, that per-item rate jumps to $50 on June 1st. Let's be real about what's happening here. This loophole has been exploited like crazy in recent years, especially by Chinese e-commerce giants Temu and Shein. You know them, those apps selling $5 dresses and $10 gadgets that somehow arrive at your door faster than a local pizza. U.S. Customs processed more than 1.3 billion of these shipments in 2024 alone, up from 1 billion the year before. Critics have been hammering this exemption, saying it gives Chinese sellers an unfair advantage and creates a tsunami of packages that barely get inspected. The Trump administration specifically cited concerns about fentanyl and other illegal substances slipping through in these minimally inspected packages. Meanwhile, Temu and Shein haven't been sitting on their hands. They've been quietly building U.S. operations, with Temu now pushing products from American warehouses and Shein opening distribution centers in Illinois, California, and a supply chain hub in Seattle. According to CNBC reporting, this move represents a significant shift in trade policy that could reshape how Americans shop online, especially for those ultra-cheap items we've grown accustomed to. The question now is whether companies will absorb these new costs or pass them directly to consumers, and how much of that $5 dresses appeal survives when it suddenly costs $30. Now let me break down the bizarre math behind Trump's sweeping new tariffs, because this isn't your typical trade calculation. Markets immediately went into panic mode after Wednesday's announcement, and financial analysts have been working overtime trying to reverse engineer exactly how these numbers were cooked up. When Trump and the White House posted those charts on social media, they claimed to show what other countries charged the U.S. through what they called currency manipulation and trade barriers. Then, in most cases, they set America's new tariff at about half that rate. But where did those original percentages even come from? Here's where it gets interesting. Market observers quickly spotted a pattern. It appears the administration simply divided each country's trade deficit with the U.S. by the total amount of goods we import from them. Take China, for example. The administration claims China charges us a 67% tariff. Well, our trade deficit with China last year was about $295 billion, while we imported around $439 billion in goods. Divide the deficit by imports and, presto, you get 67%. This is completely unconventional. Traditional tariff calculations don't work this way at all, and this approach completely ignores trade in services. It's essentially treating trade deficits themselves as if they were tariffs. Trine Nguyen, a senior economist at Natixis, put it bluntly, this formula is about trade imbalances with the U.S. rather than reciprocal tariffs. She points out this creates an almost impossible situation for poorer Asian countries that simply can't afford to buy as many expensive American goods as they export to us. The U.S. Trade Representative's office tried to justify this methodology on their website, claiming that while computing the effect of tens of thousands of tariff, regulatory, tax, and other policies is nearly impossible, the trade deficit can serve as a proxy. They're essentially saying, if a country has persistent trade surpluses with us, they must be cheating somehow, so here's the tariff to make things fair. Some analysts note there might be a method to this mathematical madness. The opaque formula gives the administration wiggle room to negotiate. As Rob Subramanian from Nomura put it, the opaqueness surrounding the tariff numbers may add some flexibility in making deals, but it could come at a cost to U.S. credibility. Markets have certainly made their verdict clear, with stocks plummeting and investors fleeing to bonds immediately following the announcement. A textbook example of economic anxiety in action. Stay with us as we take a quick break to hear from our lead sponsor, whose support helps make this show possible.
Hey, you brilliant inventors and creators. Have you crafted a product that's ready to break out from the digital world and hit the physical shelves? Imagine your creation sitting proudly in stores like Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, where 90% of purchases still happen. Well, it's time to turn that vision into reality with Product Fury. At Product Fury, we specialize in bridging the gap between online innovation and retail giants. In fact, we have secured millions of dollars of royalty deals for dozens of products at big box retail stores. Whether you're selling gadgets, home goods, or anything innovative, we're here to amplify your reach. Don't keep your product confined to the web. Visit www.productfury.ai today to submit your information for a free product evaluation. Let's get your products out of the internet cloud and into customer carts. Remember, that's productfury.ai. Make the leap from clicks to bricks and see your product thrive in the bustling aisles of major retailers. It's your time to shine on the big stage. Visit us now.
Here's some unexpected good news for homebuyers. Mortgage rates took a nosedive Thursday in the wake of Trump's tariff announcement. The average rate on a 30-year fixed loan plunged 12 basis points to 6.63%, according to Mortgage News Daily, hitting its lowest level since October. What happened? The stock market's massive sell-off sent investors running for the relative safety of bonds. As bond yields dropped, mortgage rates followed suit. They typically move in tandem with the 10-year Treasury yield. This breaks the pattern of remarkable stability we've seen in mortgage rates since late February. As Matthew Graham from Mortgage News Daily explained, while plenty of uncertainty remains over the finer points of Wednesday afternoon's tariff announcement, markets have heard enough to brace for impact on global trade. This rate drop couldn't come at a better time with spring house hunting season ramping up. But don't celebrate just yet. There are serious headwinds still battering home affordability. For the 4 weeks ending March 30th, Redfin reports the typical U.S. homebuyer's monthly payment hit a record high for the second consecutive week, reaching a staggering $2,800. Home prices are up 3.4% year over year, and even with rates easing, they're still more than double what we saw during the pandemic era. The numbers paint a bleak picture. According to the National Association of Home Builders, roughly 70% of households, that's about 94 million Americans, simply cannot afford a $400,000 home. For context, the median price of a new home in 2025 is around $460,000. Breaking it down further, you'd need an income of at least $61,000 just to afford a $200,000 home at current mortgage rates. An estimated 53 million U.S. households fall below this threshold, meaning they're limited to homes priced at $200,000 or less, if they can find them. That's the other problem. While housing inventory is growing, with March seeing a 10% annual jump in new listings and active listings up roughly 28% year over year, according to Realtor.com, that supply isn't concentrated in the affordable range where demand is highest. Years of underbuilding since the Great Recession have left us with a chronic housing shortage. Danielle Hale, chief economist for Realtor.com, summarized the situation perfectly. The high cost of buying, coupled with growing economic concerns, suggest a sluggish response from buyers in early spring. We're seeing a market that's rebalancing, offering more choices for shoppers. So let's connect the dots on what these tariffs really mean for everyday Americans. When we talk about imposing duties on imported goods, we're not just discussing abstract economic policy. We're talking about what you'll pay for products at the checkout counter. The sweeping tariffs announced by President Trump represent one of the most aggressive trade actions in recent memory. While the White House frames this as leveling the playing field, economists warn the effects could ripple through the economy in ways many Americans might not expect. First, let's be clear. Tariffs are essentially taxes paid by American importers, not foreign countries. Those costs typically get passed on to consumers through higher prices. With duties of 25% on Chinese goods, 10% on products from the European Union, and varying rates for other countries, we're looking at potential price increases across thousands of product categories. The impact won't be equal across all sectors. Industries heavily dependent on global supply chains, think electronics, furniture, apparel, and automotive, will likely feel the squeeze most acutely. That smartphone upgrade you've been planning? It might just get pricier. That new couch? Same story. For American manufacturers competing with foreign imports, the tariffs could provide some breathing room. This policy aims to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S., but the reality is more complicated. Modern manufacturing often relies on components from around the world, so even domestic producers may face higher costs for their inputs. Then there's the international relations angle. China, Mexico, Canada, and European allies have already signaled they're preparing retaliatory measures. American farmers, who've been down this road before, could once again find themselves caught in the crossfire if agricultural exports become targets for counter tariffs. The mortgage rate drop we just discussed actually highlights an unexpected side effect: market uncertainty. Investors flocking to bonds signals concern about economic growth, essentially betting that these trade tensions could slow things down enough that the Fed might need to cut interest rates to stimulate the economy. For the average American household, the real question is whether the potential wage and job benefits from protected industries will outweigh the broader inflationary impact across the economy. That's the economic strategy at the heart of this bold tariff strategy. And that's a wrap on today's special episode of Trump's Tariff Reckoning. Let's recap what we've covered. President Trump is shutting down the de minimis trade loophole effective May 2nd, directly impacting Chinese e-commerce giants Temu and Shein. We broke down the unusual math behind those sweeping new tariffs, which appears to be based on trade deficits rather than conventional calculations. And we saw how financial markets reacted immediately, with mortgage rates tumbling to their lowest point since October, though housing affordability remains a serious challenge for most Americans. The economic ripple effects of these policies will be something we'll be tracking closely in the weeks ahead. Will prices rise at your local stores? Will manufacturing jobs return? And how will our trading partners respond? Stay tuned as this story develops. Remember to follow us on X at RanningRP and catch our content on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. You can also visit us at ranningpolitics.com for more unfiltered, common-sense coverage of the stories that matter most to everyday Americans. This is JOC signing off, and thank you, our loyal listeners, for choosing Ranting Politics headline updates. We'll be back soon with the updates you need to navigate these interesting times. Until then, stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay free.
Is your home's landscaping, exterior style, or outdoor space ready for a transformation? Whether you're lakeside or curbside, make the most of your property with Garden and Grow Design, your premier digital landscape designers. At Garden and Grow Design, we specialise in increasing the value and beauty of your home by crafting elegant outdoor living spaces. Our experienced and creative designers use cutting-edge 3D technology to blend seasonal colours, perennial blooms and stylish hardscapes into your ideal garden. And the best part? It's all designed for minimal maintenance. Don't just imagine your perfect yard. See it first with our innovative digital designs. Whether it's a serene waterfront retreat or a chic patio for entertaining, we bring your outdoor dreams to life. Ready to grow? Visit www.gardenandgrowdesign.com to start your journey toward a breathtaking landscape today. Garden and Grow Design, cultivate beauty, cultivate life.